I absolutely love braised beef dishes, more so if the cut of meat that was used is beef shanks. So with that said, let's do this. This is my braised beef shanks with mushroom gravy. This dish might take some time to cook, but I promise you it'll be worth it. So as the name suggests, first and foremost, you're gonna need some beef shanks. I'd highly recommend that you put small cuts on the side of the shanks, just like so, as you can see. We're doing this so that the meat won't curl up while you're browning it on the pan later. Now, moving forward, let's talk seasoning. We're gonna hit this with some salt and black pepper. Now, if you want, you can also add some garlic powder, but for this video, I'm gonna stick to just salt and pepper. Once you're done with that, you're gonna wanna rub it really well into the meat. And by that I mean, make sure to get in between every possible nook and cranny, from the front to the back, left and right. You get what I mean. Now once you're done with that, we can move on to warming up your pan. You'll want to be a bit generous with the oil here, and later you'll see why we're doing that. Now at this point, the pan is hot. Go ahead and put in your shank. I would recommend that we fry the shanks in batches, meaning we cook one shank first before we move on to the next one. So this is shank number 1, and at this point, now's a good time to flip it over. You'll want to repeat the exact same procedure with shank number 2. And once that is all done, go ahead and set it aside on a separate tray. Now, obviously, we're not yet done with this, but we will get back to it. On the same pan, we're gonna go ahead and cook some of our garlic. Give it a good round of mixing, just like so. And shortly after that, we can now add our red onions. And just like the garlic, let this cook for about maybe 2 to 3 minutes. Once you get something that looks like this, go ahead and return the shanks into the pan. Also, if there are any meat drippings, be sure to add it in as well. Next is the beef stock. Now, I'm sure if you're a home cook, you don't really have the time to make stock from scratch. So, get 1 beef broth cube and 1 liter of hot water, dissolve that, and there you go. That will serve you very well, and it'll also act as your bracing liquid. Also, just wanted to share this with you guys. If you have the mortar that was used to crush your garlic, add that water into the mix as well. Now, you'll want to lower the heat setting of your stove here, and this is what you want to see. You don't really want to have a rapid boiling thing going on here, and please do not forget to skim out the impurities, or as how some of you may know it, scum. Remove as much of that as you can, and after that, we're gonna let this simmer for about 3 hours. Alright, I know 3 hours is a long time, so yes, you can use a pressure cooker. Cook it in the pressure cooker for about, say, 20-25 minutes, and after that, let it simmer for another 1 hour and 30. Or when the meat falls off the bone, then that is done. Fast forward to 3 hours later, here we go, the meat is cooked. But we're not quite done yet. Now is the time to move on to the next aspect of this dish, and that being the sauce. Set aside all the liquid that was used to cook the beef on a separate container, and start warming up that same pan again. We're gonna go ahead and add some butter into this, melt it down, and since this is a mushroom-based sauce, do not forget to saute your mushrooms. Now, for those wondering, yes, you can use other mushrooms depending on what you'd like. Personally, I'd like to use porcini or portobello, but for the sake of this video, we'll be using this stuff. Canned mushrooms. Now, set them aside, and using the same pan, we're gonna construct our sauce. More butter into the pan. What a weird way to fall down. Melt it very well, and now we're gonna add flour. Mix it around and just let it cook until this turns brown. Once you get something that looks like this, return the bracing liquid that was set aside earlier and give it a good round of whisking. We're doing this because we don't want to have a lumpy sauce now, do we? Once you're done whisking, let this simmer for about 30 minutes, and also feel free to start adding your desired seasonings. I'm adding dried rosemary to this. If you have the fresh rosemary, I'd highly recommend you use that. If not, then we can settle for dried. I'd also like to add, I have encountered some cooks who would add a splash of soy sauce to that brown sauce. Is it good? Yeah, sure, it's good, but I'm gonna leave it up to you. If not, you can always just season it with salt and pepper. Alright, so at this point, the sauce is done. Go ahead and add your mushrooms into it, but do save some. We're gonna be using it for toppings later. Now, you know what's gonna be happening here. Let's do a quick and easy plating. Ladle in, just like so. And if you're like me, I love brown sauces, gravy, whatever you wanna call it. I'm not gonna skimp on this. Now, once that is all said and done, go ahead and drop some sauteed mushrooms. Also, if you'd like, you can add a little parsley to garnish. As for what you can pair this up with, for me, you can always eat it with some plain rice, garlic rice, or even mashed potato. I'll leave it up to you. Also, since this is a braised dish, a lot of cooks will say, let it sit overnight before you eat it. Apparently, habang tumatagal, lalong sumasarap. But for me, I'd advise to eat it ASAP, or at least maximum 1 day. Anyhow, that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and as usual, I'll be flashing the recipe right about now. Enjoy.